Many of you may be working from home for the next several weeks, and others may not be working at all. But some workers are concerned about their rights. Fox 5 legal analyst Wendy Patrick joining us now to explain. Wendy, good morning.
Good morning, Shelley, and happy St. Patrick's Day.
Happy St. Patrick's Day to you. The celebrations still go on. You just do it inside your house with less people.
You can have your green bagels and donuts delivered by Krispy Kreme and Bruegger's. I've already gotten the notifications.
Look at you. All right, Wendy, you're at home. Usually I have you here sitting right next to me. We're getting used to this teleconferencing and a lot of people adjusting to this. If your boss says that you need to work from home, do you have to listen to your boss?
Well, Shelley, the short answer is yes. Now, obviously, the caveat to that is it depends on where you work and what you do. There's a big difference between a restaurant server and a software engineer, between a teacher and a telemarketer. Part of the analysis, Shelley, is can you perform, wherever you're employed, your essential job functions at home? Good for you if you can, and many employees can. But what is really causing, I suppose, discussion, let's just say, compromise, kind of negotiation that you see in an unprecedented situation like this is what about the employees who can't work at home? What if the job functions they perform only need to be performed at a certain area? Then we get into all the questions about, do you get paid leave? Do you have to use sick leave if you're not sick? What kind of compensation are you entitled to? So it really is, we're really gaining some new territory here. But I have to say that employers of all types are really working with their employees, both erring on the side of being conservative in terms to what kind of precautionary measures they're taking, but also in terms of what kind of compensation they're providing their employees.
We have all a few sick days, vacation days. A lot of families use that to be able to manage their day-to-day. You never know when the kids are going to be sick throughout the year or when they want to take a vacation. And there are some companies that are forcing employees that you need to take your sick days or your vacation days during this time. Can they do that?
Again, it seems like they can if they have an overriding interest. But I have to say also, quarantine is not a staycation in any sense of the word. I don't care how nice your house is. But it also isn't necessarily house arrest. It's not for punishment. It's for protection. So if you look at the applicable labor code sections, for example, they guarantee a safe workplace for everybody who works there. And if employers need to take measures to make sure all their employees stay safe, it's hard to argue with that rationale, both just in terms of what they can do and what they can do legally. So unless your employer is forcing you to do something that's unlawful or illegal, the short answer appears to be yes. Now let me just temper that, Shelley, with but for how long? Again, it goes back to what you do. Are you essential? Where do you work? Do you have the kind of job that can be performed remotely? But these are the types of things that employers are looking at all across the world in all different industries and occupations to try to decide how best to compensate their employees.
Wendy, I've gotten tons of messages over the past few days from people saying, Shali, like, I can't work from home. I have to be at that place. And if they're telling me to stay home, how am I going to get paid? And if I don't get paid, how am I going to pay my rent and my bills and take care of my family? So how do these people, because I think a big part of this fear, Wendy, is all of a sudden most people and a lot of people, they work paycheck to paycheck, paycheck to paycheck.
Right.
So when that money goes away, what do they do in the meantime? Legally, do they have any protection? Where do they get funds?
Well, I think they will have an increasing amount of protection if the government continues to have the kind of negotiations we've been seeing over the last couple of days. And that means everything from Congress up on down as far as what cities are doing, counties, states, the U.S. the Congress is in session talking about how we can compensate employees who can't work from home, who don't have any sick leave, who all of a sudden have to care for their children who are out of school and have no other place to take them for daycare if that were safe anyway, which it's not. So all of these kinds of things represent sort of a situation in flux. I always advise everybody to not only be familiar with the labor code, but also to keep in touch with their employers who are really valuing transparency. So many colleagues of mine in all different types of professions are really finding a lot of value in continued communication about developments, about options, about what kind of leave balances might be available when you didn't think you were going to get a paycheck. So I suppose that's the good news, is that so many employers are working behind the scenes to try to find solutions for their employees. But on the other hand, employees are also doing everything they can to conserve and, God forbid, make do with less, hopefully just in the short term.
Yeah, hopefully this will be all over in a few weeks, as months, as we're hearing from officials. Hopefully, Wendy. Thank you.
Thank you, Shali.